Welcome back, everybody. My name is All Fun and Games. I stream every day on Twitch TV, and I also make fun little videos here on YouTube. As we continue on our little tiny beginner guides that we've been making very quickly that people have seemed to want to enjoy, if you have any comments down below that you want to post about any ideas about what our next video should be, please let me know, and also leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe. I went ahead and basically revealed the entire map because I want to showcase where to find ice. Well, it's day one. Why the heck would we want ice? And I'm going to tell you why. Because I, for one, like making a fling-o-matic right away, and the game essentially likes to give you at least a minimum 15 amount of ice in order to do so really quickly. This is my preference. Doesn't mean that you obviously have to do this, but I probably would maybe recommend it. So here we go. We're not going to get the most amount of ice that we would get inside of wintertime, but nonetheless, we're going to get a decent amount of it, so it's going to basically fill our pockets full. So there's a few places to get ice and don't starve together. Sometimes you'll find it just randomly around here, but usually for the first little bit, essentially the first day, you're going to find it in certain biomes. So essentially you're going to find it in the mosaic biome, and you're going to also find it down here in the rocky biomes. You can sometimes find it wherever you would find the actual areas for where the McTusk spawns as well too. As you can see, the McTusk camp is essentially just over here. Now we do have a triple McTusk camp, so technically we should have, you know, a little bit more chance of actually finding it there, but you know, like I said, it depends on like what we're looking for, but essentially this. So let's go ahead and walk around and see if we can find some ice, shall we? Now, ice will generally not spawn up top of the mosaic biome, but it will spawn essentially close to where all the rocks are located. Anywhere past that, you most likely will not find it. And ice doesn't necessarily show up on the map when you first reveal it, like I just did, but you can see that the glaciers are starting to form. So that's good. It does say melted glaciers, so you got to give it a few days in order to actually appear. But we know that ice is actually there because now it's going to show up on our screen as we walk over it. So as it's about to continue to form, and I'm not using any way of finding out how long it's going to take before it does. So this biome is kind of a lock. But let's go ahead over to this rocky biome, shall we? And as we head over here, we see more and more melted ice, which is about to slowly form into actually something a little bit better. So how long is it going to take before the ice starts to appear? Well, as summer just ended and autumn is just beginning, we have to wait for basically autumn to start to kind of develop a little bit more before ice starts to actually develop. So how long is that going to be? Well, let's find out, shall we? So after basically doing what I'm about to do, I'm going to go ahead and stand right next to one of these little things so we can kind of learn that together. I'm going to use a command called long update, which obviously you shouldn't be doing, but just for the sake of this video, I want to showcase how long it actually takes. I believe it's long update, and we just put like a 500 in there, and that'll skip the days. So we're going to go day in by day out. So as it's day 2, day 3, and don't worry about my character getting hungry, it's not a huge problem. By day 4, we started to see a little bit of ice. And here we go. This is where the fun starts. So as we manage to get ourselves by day 4, hopefully, if you get a chance, you're going to want to make sure that you actually have what is ready. A pickaxe, I probably would recommend a golden pickaxe, which it's day 4, so hopefully you're able to acquire one if you watch my previous video on how to get an alchemy machine by day 1. Here we go. It's starting to get a little bit nighttime, and like I said, you don't have to get ice right away, but if you decide to, feel free. Now, I'm going to mine this little glacier, and of course, the longer I wait, the more it's going to get bigger as it gets closer to winter. But I'm impatient, and I want to see what happens here. Now remember, inside of these, you have a chance of actually getting 1 or 2 pieces of ice, so just be careful. But now you can tell that if I were to actually go ahead and walk around again, I'm going to discover more and more ice across the area, because yeah, that's basically the way it goes. I believe if I do my command again, which I don't recommend doing because as I said, this reveal map command does not really help out people that much, but I mean, it's to each their own. I mean, it's like I said, it's entirely up to you. But now when I reveal my map, you can see that now there's little tiny pieces of ice everywhere as it's indicating exactly where more and more ice is now located as it's officially day 4. So that's why I'm saying that you basically have to wait up to 4 days in order to retain this ice unless you get super lucky or you have some weird world gen settings. And the longer you wait, the more ice will appear, so you might not want to do it directly on day 4. But for the sake of the video, as I always say, you probably want to just follow along and try to make that fling-o-matic ASAP. By this time alone, obviously, you're not going to be skipping the day ahead. You're going to be going through the process of actually gathering resources, getting berries, such and such and such and such stuff. And eventually, you're going to gather more and more ice if you decide to do so. But if you don't decide to do it at all and you want to wait until the last minute to gather ice, that's completely fine too. As I said, I like to just do it because on my base, I like to put my Fling-O-Matic down as fast as I can to showcase, hey, look, this is where my base is going to be. This is what my plans are. If you want to follow along and put your stuff around here, we are now protected by a Fling-O-Matic no matter what happens. And some people like it and some people don't. But nonetheless, that is how you get yourself some ice early game by day 4 and don't have to wait until all the way until winter. Some people might say otherwise and say you realize that, you're best just waiting until essentially all the ice has appeared. But as you can see, this in just less than one whole segment, we're essentially going to get more and more ice as time goes on. Now, of course, it depends on what you decide to do, but I probably would recommend obviously waiting until winter if you want to get the most use out of your ice. But keep in mind, this is still going to reset. So just because I mined that glacier doesn't mean it's going away forever. No, it just means that I mined it. As winter hits, it's going to come right back. So just like anything else, you might as well mine it, right? What is it? It's not really doing anything, right? So just before us in front of our eyes, we should be able to see some ice forming depending on like how long it decides to take. But nonetheless, we've managed to actually go through the process of getting a little bit of ice early game. And of course, I'm playing as Warthog, so jumping around back and forth between different biomes is not a huge problem. But I just wanted to showcase that, which biomes you might maybe be able to find ice really quickly, maybe be able to find a little bit extra here and there, but enough to actually get yourself a Fling-O-Matic should not be a problem depending on what your world gen settings are. And like I said, it's not guaranteed, so don't worry if all of a sudden you walk around and you only get 12 or 13 ice. As long as you have a fridge down, this ice will last you forever and it'll just sit in there permanently. But that is how you get your ice early, so feel free. Go out there, use it, do whatever you want with it. Use it for filler, use it for Fling-O-Matic, I don't know, but just go ahead and enjoy the ice. Now, there might be some areas that I might have forgot where ice can appear, and of course, to each their own. If you decide to mess around with your world settings, maybe you end up getting a little bit of ice in a different biome because the world is so close together, but chances are you're going to find it exactly where I showed it. So feel free to post down below in the comments if you find anything different. But nonetheless, I hope this helped you out. If you are looking for ice early game, this is the best way to find it. And don't feel bad if you decide to use it. Just like anything else and Don't Starve Together, use at your own will. And just as long as you have fun, that's all that matters. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.